now. The tank looks okay. It's hard to sort out what would.
There's a dent in the end of the muffler.
Yes,
a scrape there.
Might have had a little drop. So things really starting to consolidate now for Honda, with them holding first, second, third, fourth place being held by Suzuki, Phyllis Cole, fifth place Honda, sixth place Suzuki, seventh Honda, and eighth this Suzuki.
Oh, and yes, it's certainly been down the road.
That's the other problem. The thing comes in so hot and the heat just gets through everywhere. You really need some pretty well insulated gloves, as we're seeing now. Cruising, looking good. John Pace, bike 5. Looking as though he's going to pick up with, assuming no rain this afternoon, about 4 or 5 laps on the previous race record set in 1979, 360 laps by Alan Hale's Neil Chivers.
And only 5 bikes on the same lap at the moment, and about to be 4, because Pace is catching up with Wayne Clark, Wayne Gardner's co-rider, and appears set to lap him and put him 1 lap down again. So Gardner, having ridden a terrific race in the mid-range, especially during the race, is about to see the placings that he's picked up whittled away again.
This bike 7 that's in second place on the leaderboard, changed tyres early on, was the first bike to do so.
Blanco off the bike, French onto it. And away in particularly quick time. 12.02 seconds the pit stop. Gee, this Matic team is so slick in the pits. Under the control of young Chris Matic, son of Frank, it would have to be the most professional team that we've seen coming to Australian motorcycle sport this year.
They indeed are, because they do various things. Firstly, they service the press very well with information, which few of the teams do. They service other competitors, of course, because they're suppliers of Pirelli tyres and advisors on tyres. And then, of course, they run their own team too, and they do all of it very well.
Dropped back to third place with that pit stop, so the leaderboard now reads John Pace, followed by Greg Pretty on the Honda, yet to have his second stop, and this man, Jeff French, in third position. Bike 3, the Andrew Johnson Greg Pretty bike, in second position, stretched its first pit stop out to 1 hour 42 minutes. So he's still got some way to go before he needs to stop again.
21 there with the leg out. Schooler Dawson are in 5th place, indicating they were calling to the pits as we come again to the race leader.
And boy, is he flying. Look at him straight under 2 bikes like that.
Yes, the rider's now well in the groove, confident, diving deep under brakes, prepared to change line. Wayne Gardner and Wayne Clark, bike number 2 behind them.
And then behind that, Malcolm Campbell on the Roger Hayes bike, which has been down the road, of course, has dropped from major contention.
That bike number 4 is 2 laps down and is in 9th place. Not a bad placing, but a long distance behind. Looking very good there for a while until Roger tangled with a slower bike in the rain.
Hayes seemed to be a bit concerned that the frame might have been bent, but certainly Malcolm Campbell is making good use of it if it is. This, John Pace has said, is his last production ride. He's next year to take on a Suzuki 500, and there is bike 10 into the pits. Glenn Taylor and Dave Robbins. Robbins on the bike, Getting off to give the bike over to Glenn Taylor, the young Team Honda rider from New South Wales. They're lying in 8th position in the race, 1 lap down on the leaders. Just behind the Scott Stevens, Rick Walden Honda 1100. Taylor feeling the bike out. Getting himself nicely set as bike 3, Greg Pretty, comes up to get him. Pretty yet to take his second stop.
This futuristic looking bike that they're both riding, the Honda CB 1100RB, the second of 2 versions of that bike. The first was non-faired, but this one comes standard with the fairing, with the dual seat or single seat facility, so that behind the rider's tail, over where the pillion would sit, is a cone section that covers the seat, but that's quickly removable with 2 screws and becomes a 2-seat bike, and to be followed, RC it is, not RB, as to be followed by apparently a similar model for next year, but they'll probably bring it back to 1,000 cc's. At 1,100 cc's, it develops about 108 brake horsepower, and in the riding manual for it, the gear chart shows that at 9,100 revs, 5th gear, it's doing 262 miles per hour.
Just lapping
kilometres.
And just lapping then the Grand Prix riders of Greg Johnson and Chris Oldfield on their BMW, sponsored by the Drum Tobacco Company, one of the outside sponsors of the sport, and we're indeed getting more outside sponsors into the sport all the time. It's very good to see. John Pace on the Honda CB 1100R waves to the pits, telling them it's not time to come in yet, although he's going perilously close to going over time with the fuel consumption of this big Honda, and perhaps also the tyre consumption, because in the last couple of laps he's had a couple of small moments as the back end has slid out, and there's a rider down. Obviously a Honda rider, we can't pick it yet. It's the Brian Collins bike. And it would be Hilton Steele or Jelf McNaughton perhaps. And here comes bike 5, race leader in for his pit stop. Finally, there he is. John Pace on the bike. Tyre change coming up. Tyres off in 7 seconds. Working well. 25 seconds gone. Pete Byers already mounted on the machine.
Caustic, the boss of Action Motorcycles, up front there.
Here Jack's working, 40 seconds gone. Go, they say, at 44.5 seconds the stop. And they charge back out into the race, down to 4th position. The race order, bike 3, Andrew Johnson, Greg Pretty still to have their stop. Bike 7, Alan Blanco, Jeff French. Bike 14, Rob Phillis, Michael Cole, and then bike 5, now with Pete Byers on it.